Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Positively Awesome Wrestling Show. It is yours truly, the Drip King, Jimmy Bebe. I am joined, as always, by my partners in crime. We got Tidy to the right of me and Albert right below me. And if you haven't noticed by now, what's wrong with you? Put some goggles or eyeglasses on, whatever you need to be able to see better. I'm already fumbling on my words. That's not a good indicator for the show. My goodness, it's bad already. But we got David right here below Tidy. David, our special guest of the week. How the heck are you, sir? How have you been since our last show that we did? Man, it's been a minute. We did the Dynamite
recap. Sharpening the tools, man. Sharpening the tools. Out here trying to get the people what they want every day, you know. Set up the bag, signal. I'm here, man. I'll drop from the ceiling like Batman. That's my thing. You hear me? That's how we do around here.
That's what I like to hear, and that's why David is with us here tonight. Tidy, but how have you been doing this week, sir? How have you enjoyed the wrestling?
Wrestling's good, man. I had a moment, and then Survivor Series, we're going to talk about it. I mean, there's some ups and downs, okay, and blah, blah. Like I told you, I had to go to the gym. Tidy gained 5 pounds. Or is it just this 5 pound John Cena watch?
You got that 5 pounds of gold. 5 pounds of gold.
Uh-oh.
And then right below, Albert, last but certainly not least, how have you been doing this week, sir? And how have you been enjoying your wrestling?
Been a good week. It was a good, fun week of wrestling. I think we had, we're going to talk about Crown Jewel. I think Crown Jewel it was a fun show. Wasn't it the greatest show in the world? It was fun.
It was a serviceable show. Show as we get ready for Survivor Series. So, but before we get there, y'all know what time it is. It is time for the top 5, the Positively Awesome Wrestling top 5 of the week. Thank you. You know what it is. And this week we are doing the top 5 moments from Crown Jewel because we just watched Crown Jewel yesterday and it's the topic of discussion right now. So with that said, I've made the list. I've not filled anybody in because we want a natural conversation about these things. And then once we are done, I'm going to let them tell me what big moments I might have missed. But I never miss anything. So they're going to have their work cut out for them on that one. So we're ready to go. Let me get these comments out of the way. See, I told you, I'm already all over the place. What up, gang? What up, Courtney? Thank you for joining. Looking good. Thank you, babe. Thank you, babe. But it is you who is looking good as always. What up, everyone? And Cameron, thank you for joining, bud. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Scotty's up in the chat again. Thank you for joining, buddy. It's Crown Jewel's mask, but Survivor Series will slap. I have no doubt about it in my mind.
No doubt.
And if for whatever reason you're not convinced it's going to slap, you should tune in to Wrestling Legion on November 18th because I'm going to be booking my own Survivor Series, and that one for sure slaps because I'm done with it and I'm in love with it. But that's for another conversation. We're going to get into the Positively Awesome Wrestling top 5. And number 5 on my list is Shayna Baszler's triple submission spot because, oh my goodness, that was dope. I loved it. What I like most about this match is that I feel like every girl got their hits in. Like every girl got their moments in. And it was awesome. This was probably my favorite spot of the whole show match, though, because I did predict Shayna was going to eat the pin in this match. I did predict that. So
I bring it up, huh?
I'm going to bring it up all the time. I love patting myself on the back. But she did get this moment, and I think that was pretty cool. As far as the match goes, what did you all think of the match? And then go ahead and give me your favorite moment from the match as well. David, you're our guest of honor. I'll let you go first.
Well, I thought the word of the day was serviceable, so I thought it was a serviceable match for seeing as it was a 5-way. I don't know why they call it a fatal 5-way, but it was a 5-way. It was a decent match. That spot was dope, and I thought the spot that was a little bit doper was when Rhea Ripley did the Riptide on top of Shayna Baszler was always starting to get the pin. Now I thought that was another good spot, but yeah, man, I thought it was a pretty good match for what it was. I mean, it seems like these shows are turning more into house shows, but it was a pretty good moment. One of the better moments in the show, I thought.
Yeah, for sure. And just full disclosure, I had the Rhea Riptide off the top onto the other two ladies. That was the 6 major spots that I had picked from the whole show. It just missed the list. It just missed the list. But I wanted to give Shayna Baszler her flowers because I just feel like it never happens.
They smell good.
Yeah, that's why I gave it to her. Albert, what about you, sir? What was your favorite moment from this match? If it wasn't the Shayna Baszler triple submission spot, and what did you think about the match overall?
It was definitely the Shayna Baszler spot. I popped really big for that. I thought it was awesome. I think that this was a great match where we got to see 5 women shine. And look, I know we're going to inevitably get up to the other women's match that took place, but let's just put it into perspective. We went from doing Crown Jewel at the start of this whole thing. What was it, 2017 or whatever? We weren't even allowed to have women go to Saudi Arabia to participate. Last night there was a fatal 5-way. Then there was a singles match which featured another 3 women on the outside.
9 total women, yeah.
On the show. I mean, that's an incredible number for Saudi, which they're used to we weren't able to see them wrestle at all. So this is a great thing that not only is Triple H getting the women's division in order, but he's getting almost every woman in the division involved in some way, even if it's just a backstage or something. I'm glad that all 5 of these women got a spotlight. I know Tidy's going to talk about Zoe Stark because how important, and I know that he's a big fan, so I'm going to leave that part to him. I'm going to say that I think each of them hit their spots. I think they all look great. I think that Rhea is just, an absolute star. She's head and shoulders above, I think, 95% of the WWE roster, men and women. She's phenomenal.
And just as far as the match goes, I don't think the match was anything special. I think the match was exactly what it was designed to do. I think it was just to get the girls in the ring, get them their moments, get them their spots, and just kind of be a fun match as opposed to a banger match, as Sheamus might call it. But now the floor is yours, Tidy. I know you're ready to talk about this because you love the women's wrestling and you love some Zoe Stark. So take it away, sir.
What I got to say about it, man. All right, so she got the Z36080 thing into her Rhea's space. Couldn't get
Rhea sold it beautifully.
So that pissed me off. Okay. Shayna Baszler, she said it on Twitter. Nia fell asleep. Should have been a win. That pissed me off.
Yeah, she's out.
Yeah, she's done. Look at that, man. The hair looks great though. I'll give her that. If I'm going out with hair, but can't do that. But yeah, it's
a little something up top.
These are like 5 of the baddest badasses there is. Nia came back with a statement. Zoe's always come with the statement since NXT and teaming up with Trish, and they kept calling her the dark horse. I was just happy that they all got some offense in. I wasn't expecting much from a fatal 5-way because I don't think anybody should expect much from a fatal 5-way. It's not going to be your typical one-on-one badass match. Typical tag team wrestling, or not even a chaotic TLC match, because TLC you'll get way more spots, but they all got just enough spots. But man, if it wasn't for Shayna, that is my moment. If Shayna did not get that choke in with 2 of them, and Zoe did kick the shit out of Nia. Shayna sold that, but that was if it wasn't for that spot, that would have been 2 less spots than I wanted. But that's what made it for me, because my girl Shayna got that leather jacket moment.
All right, and just real quick around the room, I'm gonna go ahead and say, who do you think stood out the most in the match? Tidy, you first.
Shayna.
David.
Shayna.
Albert.
Zoe Stark. Honestly, for me, I think you give Zoe if she finds a little bit of a character, there's something a little bit different than just being a badass wrestler. She's got everything to get so over right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say Zoe as well, and man, the character work's gonna be tough for her because I started trying to do some character work in NXT when she was teaming with. Oh man, that was not good.
I know. Okay.
The hope is there. The hope is there, man. The hope is there.
There's a reason we're doing Shayna Baszler's spot in the top 5, and we're not doing a Zoe Stark spot.
Shayna had the top moment. I feel like Zoe had a few more moments. I remember just watching the match, just kind of being like, okay, what's Zoe doing? She did the splashes outside. She did the Z360, whatever the heck it's called to Rhea. Rhea helped sell that part, make it more memorable and all that. I feel like Zoe was just kind of everywhere during the match, and that's why, to me, she just kind of stood out a little bit more. But like I said, Shayna had the top spot, probably the top spot of the night, honestly, as far as like in the ring wrestling wise.
Right.
Because that was just really, really dope. And it's in the ring wrestling wise.
Right.
Because that was just really, really dope. And it's believable because Shayna Baszler's a badass.
It's
Absolutely.
So with that, we will now move into number 4. And I'm very curious to hear what our guest has to say about this one because I don't know his thoughts on this particular individual. So I'm very curious. Logan Paul is your new United States champion. He said, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with David. David, what'd you think about Logan Paul winning the United States title?
I absolutely loved it. Was awesome. Prestigious. Why shouldn't he win the title? Logan Paul is doing everything that needs to be done. He saved Rey Mysterio's neck. You can blame Logan Paul. I think Rey Mysterio went a little short. He's a little bit old. I mean, people are quick to blame the new guy.
It's debatable.
The new guy saved somebody from breaking his neck instead of moving like there's veterans that have straight missed the moonsault on the outside. So give the dude his flowers for saving somebody, right? And it's like I think that he does the buckshot Larry better than Adam Page. That's just me. The explosion in it. I'm like, the dude it's just crazy. And the followers that he has, it's gonna put a spotlight on a title. It's gonna make it more prestigious. It's gonna put a little bit more shine than it ever could have had, especially if you have Roman Reigns leaving.
Yeah.
So love it.
So I'll say about the Logan Paul thing. I do feel like he probably might have been out of position, but the fact that he was able to catch Rey and save him from the bad spot, I completely forgive him for being out of spot because that was an insane veteran move that I would have never expected a celebrity to be able to make, and he gets his props. I don't hate Logan Paul, but I'll get to my thoughts on the match itself in a second. And Scotty's he went a little short, pun intended. Albert, what about you, sir? What did you think about Logan Paul winning the United States Championship?
I loved it. Look, I think I said it last week. I didn't think it was going to happen because I didn't think that they were going to have two part-time champions on the same show. But by that same point, you did bring up Survivor Series is right around the corner. Logan Paul could be on TV, almost every week up until Survivor Series. He could drop it right back if that would be the case. Yeah. But the idea that this gets to now be on Impulsive every week, that this belt goes to every red carpet that he goes to, it's going to go everywhere Logan Paul goes. Logan Paul's bringing that title. Oh, yeah. I love that for WWE. I love that for for the publicity. I love it for Logan Paul for being that into pro wrestling that he's willing to do that kind of stuff. I think it's a win-win for everybody. It's the perfect storm right there. It's great.
Courtney, not a fan. Tidy, what about you, man? What do you think? Because this is one of the ones that Tidy actually got right here. Not to shit on his picks, but he was picking with his heart instead of his head. That's what Tidy does, and I love him for it. He got this one right. He picked Logan Paul. We picked Rey. So,
yeah,
congratulations, Tidy. You got us on that one. What did you think about the match and about him winning the title, man?
I think the match was good. I'm still impressed with how Logan can move in there. I feel like I keep trying to tell myself this is an amateur. But yeah, he caught Rey. I thought that was a disaster coming. My heart went like that in like half a second. Like, oh, thank God he caught him. Oh, he didn't completely fumble it. He's still picking him up. Yeah. Happy about that. But there's a part of me that looks at him like, man, he's still like an amateur. But I'm like, nah, he's still got like leagues above anybody else.
He has
that
something.
Dude can go.
Yeah.
He's earned his respect in that ring. I think everybody's already said that in WWE alone. He's earned his respect. So as I'm watching it, I can't help but whatever the brass knuckle ending kind of pissed me off. It has nothing to do with Logan Paul. I'm glad Logan won because I'm really to see a real life heel play a heel in WWE because he's got already real world heat. But the brass knuckles, man, Santos Escobar, you bastard. Why did you drop that shit on the mat? You know damn well. Were you trying to set Rey up? I think you're trying to set Rey up. That's what I think.
He got to be set Rey up. You can't kill
your mentor. You don't want to kill your mentor. And you lost to your mentor, and your mentor took your spot. I think it's setting up story, and that's what I'm happy about. Santos talking some shit on, blah, 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 I'm going to come after you. I'm like, but you ain't admitting that you were dumb enough to leave the damn brass knuckles on the mat. Why it was like a perfect thing to piss us off. if you're an LWO fan, like I am, man, come on, man.
I tell you,
that's all. That's what got me heated about the match. Overall, I'm happy Logan won. Motherfucker Santos.
So what's funny is I thought Ray was winning all the way up until Santos showed up. Then as soon as I saw him jump and land on the brass knucks, I was like, how is Santos about to screw this up? Because I knew it was coming. I just knew it was coming. And then when he put the brass knucks on the ring, I was like, my girl was watching me. I was just like, no. I saw it come. I was like, no. Because straight up, I'm not mad Logan Paul won the United States title because, as Scotty here says perfectly, it's great for business. It is a smart move. 100 million social media followers. Like, it's a brilliant move. And if there's any title that you're going to do it with, you do it with the United States title because it hasn't had any. It's the only title left that really doesn't have luster to it, like any prestige to it, unless we count the women's tag titles, but we're not going to count those. But man, I've been watching Rey Mysterio since I became a full-time fan in 96. Ray has been there since day one, since I became the full-time fan till now. And I'm just like, if there's anyone else he could have beat, I would have been like, ooh. But to watch him beat Rey Mysterio just kind of stung a little bit. Just a little bit. So I'm like, man, not Ray. I just want to throw he completely no-sold that 619. I was like, come on, man. Come on, man. I get it's part of the setup for the end of the match. And it was cool, and I'm not shitting on it, whatever it is. There's story progression. We're getting Ray, Santos further down, Logan with the belt. Again, great business move, all of that. But just those little things right there. Just the fan in me from 96 is like, are you kidding me?
So the funniest part of the whole thing to me is that I say this all the time. My girlfriend's not really a big wrestling fan. She does love the LWO though. And so she's watching that, and she's watching the Logan Ray match with me. And as soon as Santos puts the brass knuckles down, even she goes, why did he leave them there? And I'm like, I love that you're not like a big wrestling fan, but even you logically are just like, what would you do that for?
It's supposed to piss us off, yeah.
And I had to have been, right? Because,
it was so obvious. He just sat him there, and then you run away. And it's like, I guess they got the creative liberty to be able to, I was leaving them there for Ray, and then that's why I chased them away. Nah, bro. Because if I'm Ray, I'm like, why didn't you take him with you, bro? Well, chase him away and they whoop his ass with the brass nuts. What are you doing?
There's going to be some talk.
There's
going to be plenty of talk on SmackDown. They're going to talk about it on SmackDown.
There's intrigue there, and that's what I like about it. They left an open ending to that ending. You're like, okay, why did you do that, Santos? And they're going to be able to build from there. That's what I like about the ending.
A lot of cliffhangers.
Yes, absolutely. I love me some cliffhangers. Love them. Where was the comment at? But, okay, with that, their comments are leading into our number 3, which is the return of Kairi Sane. Woo! Very excited about this one. I thought it was strange they did it at Crown Jewel, but with the possible impending return of Randy Orton and maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't happen, return of CM Punk, I guess they kind of had to start getting these returns going now. So with that said, the whole women conversation we were talking about earlier, to have her return at the Saudi show is kind of a cool deal now that you think about it. And I like Kairi Sane in NXT, so I'm not mad that she's back at all. We got right here. Courtney says that's her number 2. Kairi Sane, the pirate. Sky says she's not a pirate anymore. She's an angsty Io Sky clone. She looked more like one of them dirt bike motorcycle riders from that movie back in the day. I don't remember what it was called.
Or something.
Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about.
She got the Kill Bill outfit on, but it's Kairi Sane style.
She's great in the moves, so smooth.
Come back and cost Io. I know, honestly, that's what I thought it was gonna happen. I thought she was gonna come back as a babyface or something like that and help Bianca win the title. I figured she was gonna come back at the Crown Jewel. Only reason I say I thought that she was gonna come back is because it's close to Japan.
There you go. That's what Scotty right here says, right here in the comments.
You know, it's right there, and then they could pull up in a couple hours. That's a little bit of a surprise, and you can hide her a little bit better rather than you fly her all the way over to the States. Oh, she's getting off a plane. See over there, you could just drive, pull up. You know, so it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier for her to appear over there, and it's a little bit more of a surprise. I was just shocked that she went and cost Bianca, especially with the Bailey of it all, because they sold that. And then are they like? There's a lot of questions, which I love though. I love questions, and they can turn to different storylines. Not stupid ass questions, intriguing questions.
There's questions that make sense because, as they pointed out last time we saw Kairi Sane is when Bailey kicked the butt and she was gone. And then now here she is teaming up with Io Sky, who's friends with Bailey. It's like, man, I love it. I love it so much. And Tidy, I'll swing it over to you. What you think about Kairi Sane's return, sir?
Well, like you just said, Bailey was the one that took her out, and I think it was a tag team match or something. It was her and Asuka, and that's when Bailey and Sasha.
It was Asuka and Sasha wrestling, and then Bailey did it in the backstage during the match.
Oh, that's right. And then
distract Asuka.
So then did she take the title off Asuka at the time? Anyway,
I think that's when she took the title off Asuka, yeah.
And then they became tag team / whatever.
They were tag team champs and Raw champ.
And they had each champ in their hands.
They had all the gold. So when Bailey was at her peak.
That's what set that up. And then Kairi retired, or just quit that night. She said something on Twitter, and that was the end of Kairi, and Bailey being in full heel mode was like, haha, bye-bye. That was it. So there's a reason why, she would want to break up Damage Control. And we know the story from Damage Control. Bailey's been taking another step, trying to cross that line. She's a habitual line stepper when people aren't looking. I guarantee it. That's what Bailey does. But that could be a good Bailey face turn. It could be the miracle is if Sasha comes back and she teams up with Bailey. Because Sasha's going to get that baby face crowd cheer. And then basically it'll be Kairi and them. Now the question is, what happens to Dakota? She tweeted out, call me back. Like she's been calling Dakota, like, hey, shit's going wrong. I ain't got control anymore. And I guess Dakota didn't call her back. So if Coda turns on her and then Sasha comes to help her, I don't know, man, but that's one thing. And besides, she has the best elbow then, now, and forever. Kairi Sane has always had that best damn. I've never seen an elbow like that. That shit is full torque. She puts her feet to the moon and really drops it. That shit is dope. That is how you do an elbow finisher.
Yeah. Absolutely. The first thing I ever saw Kairi Sane do was that elbow. Like I literally turned on the NXT one time and she did. I just saw her doing the elbow as soon as I turned it on. I was like, that was dope. And then obviously I just watched Kairi Sane and she's really good. So
I think it was Mae Young Classic. I think that when she debuted, I think it was Mae Young Classic or Women's Breakout. I think so. And I saw that elbow and I knew that girl was
insane elbow.
Didn't she win at that as well?
I think Io is leaving Damage Control. I think so too. And I really don't know where they're going with it. Though. That's what's cool is I don't know if they're going to add. Where's Dakota? I didn't even think about Dakota in this whole scenario because she's out right now. But like, where is Dakota fit into all this?
Where does Asuka fit into all of this?
Asuka used to be her partner, so you got.
So there's a lot of intrigue here. And then I was going to bring up the whole Sasha thing.
That could be their own Damage Control. The three of them teaming up.
A lot of intrigue.
What Mercedes is one of the people Mercedes has feuded with since she's left WWE was Kairi Sane. My memory serves me
took her title.
Yeah, so there's so much invested in all this, and it's so cool. Again, more of that intrigue we're talking about, and that's why I think WWE is kind of rolling on all cylinders at the moment because they're doing these kinds of things as opposed to just pumping out show after show after show. They're leading you to more shows. They're like, this is why you want to continue to watch the show. We got you intrigued with this story and this story and this story. Albert, what about you, sir? Kairi Sane's return. Anything that hasn't been said that you need to say, sir?
Yeah, just real quick. All I'm just going to add is just that, look, it's an intrigue. It's depth to the women's division, and it's somebody who's extremely talented that adds a huge level of intrigue to an already story that's full of intrigue. We've been seeing that Bailey's been interfering on Io's behalf, and we saw she was costing her matches in the beginning. Now she's not. She's kind of why is Bailey's probably sitting there thinking, why are you bringing in a contingency plan when I've had your back this entire time? It's a really solid way to get a storyline over. So I'm really happy to see that we finally we're gonna take the next step in this, and it's adding somebody who we didn't think was gonna even be in. I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic, and that's why it's number 3. But it's like, if that's number 3, what's number 2 and number 1? Well, I don't think anybody. I was a little bit biased with my number 1, but we'll get to number 1 in a second, because number 2 is Tidy's got that watch on, but it ain't John Cena's time, because Solo Sikoa destroyed John Cena. He didn't thumb him once. He didn't thumb him twice. He thumbed him like 10 times. He's like, John Cena just out. He ain't going to be talking. He ain't going to be talking for a minute. So with that, I'll just ask the question. Is that the last time we're going to see John Cena for a hot minute? And since you got the watch on, Tidy, it's your time to shine. What you got?
It's going to be a couple months. I'm bitter. You know, it's the end of an era. Damn. I know not everybody was like, John Cena was shoved down my throat. But you know what? I was watching Total Divas so I can get some background information of how this business works and how they report to who and blah, blah, blah. And John Cena, man, he sold me. I love John Cena since then. So I'm like, man, why does everybody hate John Cena? Because this is around the time I started getting into wrestling about, 11 years ago, whatever.
11 years ago, and apparently it was 11 times he got thumbed. Scotty was counting.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I already
one for each year that you've been watching John Cena, Tidy. Solo has it out for you.
Dare they pull a repeat Brock Lesnar SummerSlam Suplex City with thumbs? This is some bullshit, Paul Heyman. And he said he planned that shit in the back. He was talking to, that was my strategy for Solo to thumb kill him. That's he said it was worse than Brock Lesnar. Now Brock Lesnar was some devastating shit. Yeah. But the reason it's worse, the difference is because John Cena, we would believe, can still go back then. Right now, this was his time of hope. This was his time, his last SmackDowns of talking like, I'm going to come back and I need a win. I have to dedicate a win. I've been losing for this many years. It's been 5 years, bullshit. You're going to get the fans all stirred up. You're going to make me break out the watch, you mother. So, and to do that, man, it was devastating. But man, did it leave an impact on me emotionally. Not that I'm like super sad and depressed, but it was more of shit.
While we're speaking,
you can't give him a win.
While we're speaking of some emotion,
and for the first time, that John Cena match, unlike Austin Theory, just got Solo over. John Cena. Man, Solo looks like a beast. Things are accomplished. Good for the bloodline. But man, 5 years, man, give that man a W. But I get it. This is leading to a long video package shows of him getting to his retirement by next year or something. And man, that desperate plea of what he said, that shit, that's what hurts thinking back on that.
So no joke, she really wasn't crying. I'd be like, yo, chill, it's okay. It's okay.
I texted my roommate. I was like, no, John Cena lost. I was about to cry, but I ain't letting that Sami Zayn shit happen twice this year. It ain't happening again, man.
What I will say about the match is, unlike the Austin Theory one, when this one was over, I was like, oh shit, Solo just did that. Like, it wasn't, the Austin Theory one was kind of like, that match just happened. This one was like, that was legit. I hate
John Cena just made Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, I legit hate Solo Sikoa after that match. So, job done. He's not gonna put over anybody. Well, I hate to say this because I was such an Austin Theory fan at one point, but at the moment, it's not. It didn't do anything for him, so it was like it wasn't worth it. I still think John Cena should have won at WrestleMania. I stand by that 100%.
Give him a W, man. Come on.
Yeah, we all sat here. I think we all picked John Cena to win. We all picked him to win here. So it was
There's a W on the middle of this watch. Look at this. There's a W. Can he get a damn W?
Take it to the jeweler and have him put an L in there for you, man. David, what about you? What you think about Solo Sikoa destroying John Cena, man?
Like I said when we were chopping up before the show, you gotta leave something as a rock bottom so you can come back from.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you build an arc to a story. And I mean, if there's any chance for somebody to break 17, I mean, Ric Flair is in the AEW right now. Hey, I'm just saying, he's already challenging MJF too. You never know. I'm just saying, WWE petty like that. Everybody know WWE petty like that, but that's another story.
I love it. I love when people.
But I think the fact that he let Solo Sikoa hit him 11 or 13 times in the throat with a thumb that's taped up, and then he cut a promo in 90 seconds talking like this.
That shit was dope.
How did he do that? He learned how to act it. Unfortunately, he would have won, but they calling him back to Hollywood. They are, so they got to send him away one way or another, I guess, you know. So it's just, it sucks that he honestly is the last of a dying breed, especially in the WWE. After he goes, did Randy Orton ain't back? No, nobody's there. Brock Lesnar's gone right now. There's nobody there. We can't really count Cody Rhodes, can we? Yeah, Cody's like 36. He's 10 years younger than the dude.
That era I don't count him.
Yeah. Different generations now, so it's just out here in the generation these days. So Cole got heat for a whole damn year.
Bastard, man, he a bastard. Albert, so I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you think we see John Cena on SmackDown?
Yeah.
You don't, no chance in hell.
I think he's out.
Oh, if I hear his music, I'm gonna lose my shit. I hope I see him on SmackDown, but he ain't.
I think that if one Samoan Spike took his voice away, 11 means he can't talk, right? Yeah. That's the way I'm thinking of it.
So we all know how much I love fantasy booking, and I came up with an idea. Tell me how stupid or how much you love it. I think John Cena should come out on SmackDown, pick up the mic. He can't cut a promo, so they took away his biggest weapon. So he just literally drops the mic, and that's his curtain call to where he leaves for a few months. I think we should see him one more time, just in that.
Hey,
man,
they're going to get sad ass John Cena theme song with the horns. The real sad one. like it's just 20th anniversary. It sounds like they're burying his ass. What's going on?
Paul Heyman's going to be doing that horn on SmackDown for sure. There's no way Paul Heyman
Paul do it.
Look, here's the thing about it. John Cena came back, and I think that WWE looked at him and said, hey, we need you to get Austin Theory over. And I think John Cena looked at Austin Theory and said, dude's not ready. I think he's got everything, but he's not ready. I'll do what I can, but I'm not going out of my way. Then he saw LA Knight and he saw Solo Sikoa and said, okay, if I'm going to come back and I'm going to put anybody over, these are the guys that I'm going to put over. And I think that's what we got out of this last run with John Cena. I don't think he thought Theory was ready. I liken it back to where Austin Theory is right now to where Randy Orton was after he won his first world championship.
Yeah.
He was a little bit too green. He just wasn't all the way there yet. Everything hadn't clicked yet. Orton was a little bit further along than Theory, I think, is right now. I think Theory just still needs to find that extra little thing to get him to where he needs to be. But Cena came back, and his idea was, I'm going to put over LA Knight as being the next big thing, the next big baby face, and I'm going to put over Solo Sikoa as being the next big heel. And I think he mission accomplished on both ends. I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about LA Knight in a few, but I think that this is officially. We asked a little while ago, Jimmy. I know we talked about this about what we think is going to happen with Roman's title reign, and I know our prediction was Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. That's where both of our minds have been for a really long time, and this makes Solo Sikoa look like the main eventer that can go up against Roman Reigns. Remember, it took John Cena took 11 thumbs to the throat from Solo Sikoa, and Solo Sikoa did that with his bare hands. Roman Reigns needed Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso to win. You think that's not rattling around in Paul Heyman's brain right now?
That's where this whole thing's definitely leading. Like Solo's like, yo, I don't need help, but Roman, you need our help. And that's why, like, I always hear the chatter about, oh, Roman always needs help. And it's like, yeah, I think that's the story.
Right.
Seeing that Roman is a very insecure and weak individual who depends on the help of others. And the second he doesn't get that help, shit don't go his way. Solo's like, I could do his job without the help. And that's where I think that clash eventually gets to. But that's for another day. We could go off all night on that one.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
gonna move on to the number one. And as I said, I was biased. Why was I biased? Because it's my list. And that's what I'm going to do. So number one is Sami Zayn stealing the Money in the Bank briefcase so that Damian Priest cannot cash in, because as this was happening, Damian Priest was literally step by step telling the referee, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cash this in. You're going to ring that bell. I'm going to go in there and beat his ass, and then I'm going to be the champion. It's like, yo, you don't have to tell the referee this. Just give him the briefcase, do your job. And then all of a sudden, Sami says, not today, sir. Takes off with the belt, with the briefcase. And I think that shit's hilarious. That's why it's number one to me. David, I'm going to go to you first here, sir. What did you think about Sami Zayn getting involved and taking the briefcase from Damian Priest?
I think it's very ironic that he stole the briefcase from Damian Priest after when he was Money in the Bank, he put his briefcase on the line and Brock Lesnar essentially stole it from him. If that's not storytelling, I don't know what it is. I absolutely think that it gives him something to do and it keeps him relevant near the main event scene. Now, my thing with Sami Zayn stealing it, how does it tie into Damian Priest? And is it going to help him become a babyface? Because I think that somebody has to leave the Judgment Day. And that somebody is either going to be him or it's going to be Finn, right? So how does that bridge the gap with the Money in the Briefcase with Sami Zayn? You see what I'm saying? Because how does that arc turn? Because you got Drew McIntyre laying in the weeds too. There's a lot of stories going on. There's a lot of stuff going on. So I think it's creative for him to take it, but I personally wonder how Sami Zayn's going to tie into all of it because he's kind of seems like he's floundering on Monday Night Raw right now.
I think the thing with Sami Zayn, because I've heard a few people say this, and I think with Sami Zayn, I don't think it's floundering as much as it is transitioning because he was tag team champion and then he was tag teaming with Kevin and then Kevin's gone. So now he's kind of got to restart himself as that singles competitor while still being involved with the Judgment Day. And you know, we saw him do the thing with Drew McIntyre where he had a little beef with Drew. He's still got the friendship thing with Jay. Something's gonna happen with that for sure. And then I still don't think the contract is in Damian Priest's briefcase.
You shut up. Don't say that.
I'll tell you why. 3 weeks ago in a backstage segment, remember Finn took it out of the green one and put it into the purple, the senior one. Okay. That green one showed up 3 weeks ago in a backstage segment and it was painted with the demon on it. There's no way that was coincidental to me. That's just me. But that's for another time. Tidy, swing it over to you. What do you think about Sami Zayn stealing the Money in the Briefcase? And you better be nice because Sami Zayn, who you're on his shit list recently with all your hating. With all your hate, Sami, you're on his shit list, sir.
Santa Claus Sammy is going to not put coal in a sock for Timmy Tidy. It ain't happening. All right, I was very happy that Sammy did that because after that promo that he is rebellion and whatever with the whole deeper issue on Raw, it was brilliant. Last Raw, what did he say? You know, I'm a heavyweight championship material contender, and I want to prove it to the world. And I popped. The tears came back from Elimination Chamber. I was happy. So that was perfect because he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He shuts down JD, pissed about that, but I'm happy for Sammy. God damn, I cannot not be happy for Sammy. And then he ruins Damian Priest's freaking day. He already confronted Mommy and yelled in their face on last Raw, and that's the point. He's the thorn in their side. You could say floundering, and I get that. That's very true because I felt when they had the tag titles, they were floundering from the story I wanted him to finish, which is you need to be in championship material. So when at that point, I couldn't see it. Now that KO's gone, I'm glad they jumped boat. And now he's messing with someone who has the Money in the Bank. Now he's messing with the top people of Raw, which is Judgment Day. I thought it was poetic that he did that. He runs into the crowd where they're all cheering his name.
Yeah.
Freaking brilliant. Let the boy have his time in the sun.
Real quick, I'll let Albert do his, and I'm going to blow Tidy's mind and just ruin his whole night.
Albert, don't you say? Why you got to pick on my ass?
Albert, what did you think about Sami stealing the briefcase?
I loved it. I thought it was I think it's a great way to keep Sami Zayn relevant right now. I think that the idea, all right, so this is going to seem like a weird way to go about this. Recently, I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago on a different show. I started watching WWE Monday Night Raw, just Raw, not pay-per-views, just Monday Night Raw from 1999. Randomly, I started at the higher power storyline, just randomly, just threw it in there. And I just went, what was it back then that drew me in every week? Is it that I was a kid or and like I just wanted to see it, or like what was it? And I realized what it was. Almost everybody on that show was treated like a main eventer.
Yeah.
Like they all had to, yeah, like there were so many moving parts. It made everybody there seem like a superstar. And like to the point where you had segments where Hardcore Holly is in the ring with the Big Show and Kane and the Undertaker, and he looked like he belonged. And he was a hardcore guy. He wasn't supposed to be in that, but they all kind of looked like they belong. The thing I love right now about what Triple H seems like he's doing is that he's building up multiple people at the same time to make their main event scene a lot bigger. Now, instead of it just being where it was basically like Seth Rollins and Finn Balor for like a couple of months, like those were the only guys. Now we have elevated. We have, yeah, absolutely. But you have like Cody's now, in the mix. You have Drew McIntyre's back. Sami Zayn's now, saying, "Hey, I'm a main event player." Damian Priest is the Money in the Bank. He's elevated to that next level. They doing
Shinsuke in effortlessly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So they're making it seem that like there's a lot more challengers especially on Raw right now. And I think that's the best thing that they're doing. I think that this booking for Sami Zayn is the best thing for him. I think Sami needs something to sink his teeth into. I think after Survivor Series, we see the end of this whole bloodline. This whole Judgment Day, big giant feud that they've been in, and we kind of reset. So I think this is a great spot for him to be in.
For sure. And before we move on to our favorite moments of the week, I'll just go ahead, fantasy book one more time. What are you going to do, Tidy, if Sami Zayn takes the briefcase, wins it from Damian Priest, and then cashes in at WrestleMania and steals Cody Rhodes' moment? What would you do?
That would be perfect because he should have never been number 30 in the Rumble. We're not reliving John Cena level number 30 Royal Rumble moments. You don't get just give everything to Cody, man.
You just sent Tidy to bed with visions of cash-ins dancing in his head.
I love this angle. Sami helps push the fact that he belongs in this picture. Sami is the main event material. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? If they did what I just said, man, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. But man, I'd go crazy. I would 100% go crazy.
I would.
But enough of our top 5 of the week. That was a good top 5. Good discussion, everybody. And now, real quick, each of you, is there a moment I missed? You can all add one right now. David, first. Do you have a moment that I missed that you feel was deserving of a top 5 spot?
Roman's reign of terror continues.
Yeah. Tidy, what about you, man?
Same. I've seen a lot of people on the X Twitter talking about they're upset that Roman's and he's probably not going to be around and booked to 2024. I'm okay with that. I'm loving it. Upset. He's always interesting. He's always gives other people on SmackDown time to shine while he's gone to make another contender like Bobby Lashley or Sheamus. Please come back. I miss you freaking dearly.
And let's not forget about the impending return of another AJ Styles. So there you go.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Albert, what about you, sir? Was there a one that I missed?
Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins tore the damn house down.
I felt like that was going to be someone's favorite moment of the week. That's why I didn't put it in the top 5.
So. It's mine. So we'll talk about it later.
I love this angle. Oh, yeah, I put that up. What am I doing? So here we go. Our favorite moments of the week. And with that, David, you're our guest. I will allow you to go first. What was your favorite moment of the week in wrestling?
My favorite moment of the week in wrestling was when Miz and Gunther had their moment in the ring. That was my favorite because it gave everybody their time to shine. It let people know the absolute menace that Gunther is, the stud that he is, the professional wrestler, the ring general that he is. But it also let people know that Miz ain't to be fucked with on that microphone. When he has that microphone, he is going to cut anybody, and it doesn't matter who you are. It could be Roman Reigns, it could be MJF, it could be anybody in the wrestling business, because the Miz is the outside of Paul Heyman. Outside of Paul Heyman, the Miz is the best. Nobody can touch him. He can verbally, surgically destroy anybody in front of him. And it doesn't matter that he hasn't won a match in a year. Who cares? He's going to absolutely destroy you right then and there, and then you can heat him up to be a main event. That's my absolute favorite. It did the job for Gunther, but it also gave everybody the chance to be reminded of exactly how great Miz is. Yeah. He's awesome.
Oh,
thank you.
And just a real funny tidbit here. I just mentioned AJ Styles like less than 5 minutes ago, and now the phenomenal AJ Styles is trying to break in my room. Damn cat. Tidy, I'm gonna give you a minute to think about yours, because I know he just jacked your.
My bad.
No, you good. You good.
That
means it was a great moment. If two people.
Hopefully, I did it a good job. I did it justice. I articulated it well.
So, Albert, you've already told us what yours is. Go ahead, reiterate it, and tell us why.
So I want to give my sub. I always give like a runner-up. My runner-up this week was the Pretty Deadly versus Brawling Brutes match on SmackDown. Yeah, let me tell you something. Every week I see Pretty Deadly, they get better. That spot where they were both trapped in the submissions and they grabbed hands, Elton Strong, and broke out. Yes, boy! Seriously, absolutely unbelievable. They kill me every week, but. Honestly, dope. Drew and, what can we say about Drew and Seth from Crown Jewel? They opened up with it. Going in there, watching the entrances and stuff. I was like, I think I picked Seth to win the match too. And as the match started, I went, "No, this is Drew's night. He's got to win this, right? Like he has to." And I started feeling it, and the momentum started going. They were, back and forth the entire way. Kicking out of each other's finishers. I thought it was over like 3 or 4 different times. They really got me a bunch. There was a point where I was like, is Drew going to kick out of this one too? After a pedigree and a stomp, is Drew going to get out of this one? Just a great match. Nothing crazy. It's a good way to show that there's a way to have a really good wrestling match. Have those breathers, have those breaks, and sell a little bit more, and it makes it feel more intense. I like that's what Drew and Seth did. It was the match of the week for me.
You could feel the animosity between the two that they sold through their promos, 100%. Like they wanted to kick the shit out of each other, and they sold it.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was a great way to start the show, but it was also kind of like not a great way to start the show because there was no topping what they did. Everything else just failed in comparison. Like it just wasn't gonna match up. So, and
one of the only really big feel good moments on the show.
Yeah. Man, I think we all picked Seth to win. No, that's right.
I picked Drew.
Yeah, Tidy did pick Drew.
Drew
match. I definitely switched up. I was like, man, I think Drew should win this match.
Yeah,
but you heard the crowd. The crowd was behind.
Yeah, the crowd wanted it for sure.
Song, Seth, but you released
a now I think that was the problem. No,
you
released that's the problem. He's supposed to be the heel, and Seth is the baby, man. That's the problem. He needs to get that heat. They need to stop that. He needs that heat.
They're both babies in that.
Oh, I think he's about to get it.
Oh, he's definitely about to get it. And then after that, no, that's not gonna happen. But anyway, Tidy, do you have your backup plan in place for you?
Yeah, I'll do the backup plan, but I'm gonna use my original plan as some sub details, as Albert likes to do. So, The Miz said, "I interviewed an invisible John Cena in this seat that was more entertaining than you." God, that dude is cold. Yeah. And then when I tell him, I've been called a lot of things, but I've never been another man's sidekick. That's really cold to say to Giovanni and Ludwig Kaiser. And
he told Giovanni, "You're not even allowed to talk."
He speaks. Hey, give him a round of applause. I mean, he is cold. When he wants to roast somebody, he can. But when he wants to play dilly dally, I'm just gonna take it as a, how do you say, what do you call him, a chicken shit heel? do the chicken shit heel act / physically running away act. He can do that. But I was happy he was proud, and they were saying that Miz is a very proud man. He was swinging on Gunther. He got like 4 blows in. What you gonna do, Miz? You just got embarrassed. They tried to old school punk him by throwing his pumpkin on there. Like, now what you gonna do about it? You gonna do nothing? That's what we thought, because that was the whole premise, was that Gunther was saying you can't. When it comes down to in-ring wrestling, you're the greatest sports entertainer, one of the best ever, blah blah. But when it comes to in-ring, I'm gonna throw this pumpkin on the floor. What you gonna do about it, punk? It's straight up. They tested him, and then when what's his name turns around and throws his chair, he hits him. I'm like, good for you, Miz.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, I think if he keeps up this act as not that he'll be a babyface, he'll get sympathy, because he's gonna repeatedly get punked, but he's gonna be proud about it and keep trying to swing back, because he can't go full babyface. He'll just have to be the same Miz that we saw in that ring, talking his shit, doing his thing. Because I want a match between Gunther and Miz. Well, who else are you gonna get?
Sure.
Who else are you gonna get? We could do Chad Gable again, but that seems like that time is whatever. I think Miz is one of the only people that can put that skill to Gunther's face. Like, you're not good on the mic like I am. I'm the best on this mic right now if I want to be. I think that's a great contrast.
I will say this. I do think Gunther held his own.
Oh, he did.
Not something I would have ever thought was possible, honestly. Like, because when I heard that the possibility of Miz being a face was happening, I was like, why? We've tried this before. Why are we doing this?
No, it won't work.
And then he was doing it in the ring, and I was like, okay, I'll listen. But then when Gunther came out, this is how good Gunther is as the menacing badass, that as soon as he came out and started talking down Miz, and Miz started firing back, I was like, get him, Miz. Hell yeah. Which is not something I ever thought I'd be doing. So
Miz destroyed that man.
Everyone knows. Anybody's been paying attention to me all year.
It was a wrap.
Anybody been paying attention to me all year? I've been up and down on Miz literally every other week. So
this is the first time that we've ever seen a feud with Gunther where it's based on something that the opponent has an advantage on Gunther.
Yeah.
Miz is better on the mic. That's the only thing that anybody has an advantage on Gunther ever. Period. No one's like Sheamus said he was more vicious. It wasn't true. Gable said he was a better technician. Gunther still beat him. It's like every time you try to say that you're better than Gunther at something, he comes back at you. It's the one thing you can't come back from. Will it be enough for Miz to win the title? I don't think so. You can't really talk your way into a title. But
God, going crazy.
but it is great to see that to show that bit of vulnerability in Gunther's character.
All right.
I hope Miz goes over.
You got your sub piece out. What's your favorite
the
moment
real
of the week
piece
now?
is very quick. Then it is NXT doing a double cliffhanger. NXT with Carmelo. Was it Carmelo? Is that why Trick's out here? And then the shit we already been knowing. My boy Baron Corbin gets to knock out Ilya Dragunov in the back. Like, I told your ass, you better be watching me. They keep
Have your head on a swivel.
They keep taking that bald ass guy and treating him like he is nobody special. They need to watch out for bald ass Corbin, because he's no joke. I love Corbin.
Justice for the bald men.
That's a double cliffhanger, and that's a great way to end it, because it could have been Alexis King. It could have been many other people that. But the reason is, why did Trick come out and do that? Then I can just think that maybe Carmelo was in the same vicinity. Maybe he thinks Carmelo paid him. Maybe someone lied. I don't know. So that's enough intrigue to make me watch NXT again.
So
hats off to Sean.
I finished Trick or Treating just in time to get back and see the main event. Good match. And then the Trick thing happens. And what I basically take from what happened is Trick is definitely thinking that Melo has something to do with it. And Melo's just like, man, I promise you I didn't. And it's going to turn out that it's Lexus King. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Trick is going to turn on Melo for thinking it's him. But then Lex is going to show up, prove that he's the guy. And then Melo's going to be mad at Trick for not believing him. And that's why they're not going to be a thing anymore. And I think that's where they're going with it. I hope he gets a run with the NXT. But if Ilya is getting called up, put the damn belt on Baron Corbin for sure.
Hell
please.
Yeah.
I've been begging them to put a world title on Baron Corbin since he was Constable Corbin, man. Please do it.
Days, son.
So real quick, I'll just touch on mine. I'm going to give AEW some love, even though Dynamite as a whole, I think everyone that watched it knows it was not their best work, but they did start off hot because I really enjoyed Orange Cassidy and Claudio for for the simple fact it was something different from Orange Cassidy. And we all know how much I love me some Orange Cassidy. I loved there was a lot of reversals going on. It's like they wrestled each other the week before, and they kind of know each other, and you're getting a different kind of different side of Orange Cassidy this title run, and just the reversals where he kept trying to go for his signature moves, and Claudio's like, I'm too big and I'm too strong for this shit. So Orange Cassidy had to kind of figure out new ways to do things. He went for this move, and Claudio turns it into the swing. He goes for this move, and Claudio turns it into a Vang stall and suplex. Like, it was awesome. I loved it. It was different, which is what I've been wanting to see from Orange Cassidy, because, again, for the longest time, he was my wrestler of the year. That's now passed, unfortunately, but that's okay, because he gave us one more awesome match with Claudio. So I wanted to give him some love for that. And now we can move on to our new segment on the show. We've been having it planned for the past few weeks. We haven't been able to do it. So, David, you are our first guest of honor to be able to participate in our guestion of the week. That's guest and question combined right there. I did a little bit of smart stuff.
Yes, sir. All right.
Guestion of the week for what we can discuss before we say our goodbyes. What do you want to discuss, sir?
I want to discuss the randomness of MJF versus Kenny Omega on the Collision.
Interesting.
Do you guys think that match should have been? I think, because personally, I think they could have waited, and that's the caliber of a match that should be at a Double or Nothing or All Out, or something like that. Just to give it away on a Collision without any build to it, to me, it just seems irresponsible to your company. And it's just giving things away. And you should just be giving shit away just to give it away. Because that is the one match that everybody wanted to see, that you just gave it away on TV. And here's the thing, MJF beat him clean. So why, like, where do we go from here? That's the problem for me.
Yeah. So before we get into it, Courtney says, how is that even a word, Jimmy? Well, Scotty says if I say it 3 times, it's a real word. So gestion. That is how it is a real word. Now we can move into this topic. And since you asked, I'm glad you asked, because now I can actually feed into it a little bit, and it's not me being a hater. We talked about this a little bit last week, and how when they first announced it, I literally thought Goldberg, Hogan, Nitro. You announced it on Thunder. You did it on the Nitro, and you popped the rating for sure. You gave an all-time great Monday Nitro moment for sure. But a lot of people point to that as like, now you're getting desperate, and it was kind of the beginning of the downfall. I'm sure there were other things that played a bigger part in the downfall, but it came across as desperate, and I thought this one did as well. Now, I wrote an article when MJF won the title for WrestleBuddy. Go check it out. In which I predicted the next 5 champions. And I said Kenny Omega should be the one to take the title off MJF. I felt like with him coming down to the wire on his contract status, they could have easily played into Kenny Omega. Tony Khan goes to Kenny Omega and says, we need you. We need you to save the company from MJF taking that title. And Kenny Omega comes in. He plays the savior. He's the hero. And I think it worked. I think it would have worked, especially now that you have a pay-per-view right before the end of the year called World's End. Like, give it to me there. But they decided to say, okay, what was it? 26 days out. He said he went to Kenny and said something on BTE. I'm sorry, that's not part of the show. Don't tell me that. People said that, and I was like, no. For the people who pay attention to it, yeah, you saw it, but a lot of people don't. So then I think the week prior, he went up to him and he whispered in his ear, 13 days, bitch. And okay, that one works for me because you did it on programming, but I don't think it's enough to really start a build for MJF versus Kenny Omega with 13 days to go. And then the next week he does it again, 3 days. And then they're like, let's have the match. You have the match on Collision. And Collision is struggling like Rampage does with the ratings for the people who, oh, there you go, 3 days. But the week before, he said something like 10 days or something like that. I know the week before he had said something, and then he did it the next week.
Yeah, it was backstage.
Yes, I actually did, because I've always said that I thought MJF would be a better babyface than heel. It did have that, because even as a babyface, he still's like, hey, the bidding war of 2024 is still on, so it still plays into it to an extent. But yeah, to do it on Collision, where again, I hate the ratings discourse, but to be fair, half your audience is tuning in to watch it live based on what the ratings are saying, and to not even do it on a Dynamite is weird to me. And just that was a weak build for a Kenny Omega MJF level match, because these are like two of your franchise players, and you're doing it on your B level show.
Mm-hmm. Here's my thing. There is a difference in. All right, I'm gonna get that out of the way. Jimmy, everything you said is 100% right. The one thing I'm going to just say is that if I'm a wrestling fan, and wrestling fans have to need to start adopting this mindset, stop giving a shit about ratings. Tony Khan needs to stop giving a shit about ratings too, because everybody's now worried about ratings and not worried about the show anymore. They're not worried about booking. They're not worried about shit. All they care about is the ratings, and it's stupid. You know what you did? You destroyed your business model. And the problem with what AEW just did is that it's a bad business decision. Yeah. Money-wise, we're talking about money now. This isn't. This is also TV. They're trying to go for a TV deal. They want to make themselves look viable, right? This is their one big match that hasn't happened yet that people were talking about that they wanted to see, which means that people would have paid money to see it, and now they didn't because you threw it away because you wanted to get ratings. Well, guess what? Your big deal is pay-per-views. You need to convince people to buy your shows. WWE doesn't need to do that. They're on a network. They're at Peacock. They give you $10 a month. Whether or not you're even a WWE fan, you might just have Peacock because you like The Office. But guess what? You can see WWE pay-per-views. So WWE can afford to put giant matches on Raw and SmackDown because their big revenue stream right now is TV. AEW's revenue stream, yes, it is TV, but it also is, we're convincing you to buy our pay-per-views.
That's where most of their money is going to come from.
Right. And you completely took your money match, the match that people are going to pay to see, that casual fans are going to pay to see, and you put it on free television. Great for the wrestling fan, awful for business.
Yeah, and that's when I bring up the ratings discourse. That's literally what it's about, is as far as the business aspect. You've literally you've tried to just pop a rating on a Saturday night because ratings are so important for some reason to certain people, and you've completely eliminated the fact that I don't think there's a bigger money match that they could have put together because they kicked the other guy out. The Punk's gone, so that money match is gone. All the money matches there are gone. You had MJF and Omega. And that's the money. If anybody here can tell me a match is bigger for AEW than Omega and MJF, I'm all ears. I don't think there is one.
The only match that could be, there's one match, and that's when either Mox or Danielson turn on each other. And with the proper build, that is going to be a blood feud. That's the only match, but that has to be built right.
I would also say we've seen that match, so it can't compare to it. That's my only gripe there. There's a big match for sure, 100%.
But the story can make it bigger, is what I'm saying, because my issue isn't necessarily just the ratings. My issue with giving away the matches, they did not build a story to it.
Yeah.
That me as a wrestling fan, sure, you have wrestling fans that like the big matches, and big matches just have big matches. Me personally, I like wrestling matches, but it has to go along with the story, and that's a movie. We have to build. That's why it's so great with the WWE, because they give you a video package. It's like watching a preview to a movie that you're about to see.
Yeah.
Now, we just got a movie that was just debuted on Netflix overnight. Well, not overnight, a three day build. We're gonna give you 3 days to prepare for it. This is the preview to this match. This person, that person. No, it don't work like that. Nobody cared. No, the diehards did. The people who set aside time on a Saturday night just to watch Collision, yeah, they watched the match, but You know, I got 3 kids. I got things to do on a Saturday night. It's tough, man. I had to catch that match on a whole different day. And
I take my kids to the haunted house. So
right. And then in live action, you can't really not see a match, the results of a match. It's like, oh my God, MJF did this to Kenny Omega. It's like, oh fuck. Now I gotta go watch it. Stop what I'm doing. When you could have just set it up to make it a bill. Who cares about Kenny Omega going him breaking the record? If I'm Kenny Omega, okay. Cool. I'm be the one to take that title in that record and start a new record and then beat your record. They could have went like that instead of, all right, 13 days, bitch. Oh, guess what? Sounds like it's gonna be 3 days, bitch. And then it's like, come on, man. It's like, bro, that's Vince McMahon booking 5 years ago.
So
I came up upset with using the word bitch.
I come up with like basically the way I perceive both companies earlier this week, last week, or whenever it was. The reason I prefer WWE over AEW, and I watch them both. I invest as much. I watch Rampage every week. I watch Dynamite every week, and I watch Collision if I'm home. Like that's literally going to happen. That's how much time I dedicate to AEW. So I'm not hating on them at all because they're a different product than WWE. Why I prefer WWE is simply because they do a better job of making me care about what's happening in the ring. Whereas opposed to AEW, I'm just tuning in to see, that's a cool thing they just did. It's the athletic aspect of it and the craziness of it all. Whereas WWE, I'm invested. And like you were saying, the previews to the movie, we saw a preview to a movie, and then we didn't even get enough time to like let it sink in and all that other stuff. And there was nothing to sink our teeth into. It was literally just 3 days, bitch, and then they gave us the match. And for the wrestling fans who love it, that's awesome. They got a free, awesome match. Good. That's cool. That's something to be celebrated. But at the same time, if you're looking at it from a business standpoint, which I know wrestling fans really shouldn't be doing it anyway, but it is kind of crazy to think that we could have gotten an MJF Kenny Omega program built up over 2 months. That's how good this thing could have been.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that was what was stolen from me when they just did it with 3 days. So the people who are gonna,
the devil's overhanging it too. Like, who's the devil that's taken away from everything?
Adam. No, it's not. But anyway, just for the people who are gonna listen to me and say like, "Oh, you just shouldn't care about the bit." You're right, I shouldn't. But what I feel like was robbed of me is the story, and that's why I personally watch wrestling, because I love the stories.
Same.
And Tidy right over here, I know he's one of them dudes too. He's watching for the stories. And that's why he tried to watch AEW, and he was kind of like,
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, he's not going to make the time for it because he wasn't getting invested with what they were doing. Danhausen. And we're freaking Danhausen, some bitches. Oh, my goodness, that made me so mad. Woo!
What happened to Danhausen?
That was random. He'll be back on Rampage because he showed up on Rampage on Friday, and he's like, I'll be back next week. And then so I don't know what's going on there. He seems mad. It might be part of a gimmick. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that was a good question. I'm glad you asked because I didn't want to go in on it, but you gave me the opportunity. You gave me the opportunity to do so. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. See, that's like, so again, a lot of people think I'm an AEW hater, and that's crazy to me because again, I know I like Rampage. I don't think there's many AEW fans that can say that. So kiss my butt, people.
So here's the thing. There's a big thing on the internet right now about how people are critiquing AEW a little bit harder. It's not because we hate it. It's because the shows just haven't been up to par. And that's okay. We can sit there and say, hey, we dislike this. That doesn't mean it's doom and gloom. If there's a bad episode of Raw, everybody used to rip into it. 5 years ago, there was no AEW. All people used to do was talk negative about WWE. When you talk a little bit negative about AEW every once in a while, it's because we want it to get better. Go ahead, Tidy.
I was going to say, so you got me into trying to watch, I believe, Rampage or the Wednesday night show.
It was Dynamite.
And I tried for like 2 weeks, and Wednesday's my one day off, and I had like family and friends time. I was like, okay, bye family and friends. I already watch a 4th show this week. Is what I tried to do. And it's not just like a bad business decision for setting up a pay-per-view. For me, it was like the 3 weeks I really tried to get into it. I had to look up stuff, or our old friend David would have to tell me what's clued into like a past grudge. there was no reason behind what was going on in the ring, and it just wasn't enough. And it was like, well, if you're going to get a new fan in as a bad business decision, you have to give me something. Now, you make the example of the Saudi crowd, and we're like, oh, Seth Rollins is going to be the babyface. They're all going to cheer for him. No, that video package, I think it hit us a lot harder than we thought when they showed Drew's video package. That whole Saudi crowd was chanting Drew, and they probably shouldn't have been chanting that hard.
They should have, because I feel like
even you during the match, you're coerced. It's like, man, how do you not give Drew something? Like, you feel bad for the guy.
Yeah.
So
what about that whole story was, I can see the perspective of both sides. So it's like, I don't want to hate on Drew because Drew has a great point, but Seth has a great point as well. So then they had to win me over in the ring, and that's what happened. And that's why I was like, go get him, Drew. So
and at the
I feel like that's something AEW is missing at the moment.
You talk about there's a clean pin, and that was my question to Jimmy. Like, Drew just lost to a clean pin, but guess what? There's so much background story. Rhea goes back there and she says, gives him that look before she walks out to the match. They talk about the tweet during the middle of the match. Good luck, boys. Either boy has decided to team up with Judgment Day, and they're in the middle of the fight, and they're saying all these things. There's something for me to look forward to for Drew after a clean pin. There's small hope. I mean, you just lost to Seth clean, but maybe he finally listens to them and says, hey, maybe I shouldn't be so focused and upset about the bloodline in the past. It's what Sammy told him. It's what Seth told him. That's option 1. Option 2, you got Judgment Day. Option 3, surprise me. Like, I feel like there's something, but when you get a clean pin, dude, that's really hard. And that was hard to see for Drew. So I can't imagine not getting some kind of promo videos or some background story. I can't imagine such a big thing that could have been 2 months of build. And that's like Kevin Owens and Stone Cold making a build, and Kevin Owens sold that shit. God, Kevin built that up. Anyways, and then a clean pin, even harder.
Yeah. AEW, the roster is too big for such a young company with not a lot of TV time. There's no room for story investment because they seem to be in some line. So I also wrote another article for Wrestle Buddy earlier this week in which I gave three things that I think they should do to fix that TV. And just to break them down real quick, 1, they need to get rid of Collision because they're stretched themselves too thin creatively. Yeah, they literally have. Since Punk has left, and again, this is not me being all like rah ree. Punk is the man. You shouldn't have fired him. You fired him because you thought it was the right thing to do. Do you? I'm not hating on your decision. It was your decision. But
also, then Danielson got hurt too, by the way. So the next guy they tried to build that show around too. So
we both have sat here and said the same thing. The quality of Collision has basically fell down completely since the departure. The Dynamite's quality has fallen down completely since that departure because you started seeing the people who were exclusive to Dynamite now showing up on Collision, and now you have all the great moments that were jam-packed into Wednesdays. Now they're sprinkled throughout the show, and then they're sprinkled over on. You don't have 2 hours of just nonstop AEW action anymore because it's spread apart on 2 different shows. So get rid of Collision so the Dynamite has that. You take Rampage, you put it on Saturday mornings, you extend it by 30 minutes, and you let the Land of the Misfits, like they do with Rampage anyway, do what they were doing with Collision, build story throughout the thing. They're stretching themselves too thin is basically what this all boils down to. They don't have the resources that WWE has, and that's not a knock on them. They're just young. They're new. There's it feels like they're trying too hard to compete. It's like WWE was Marvel and AEW is the DCEU, and we all know how that worked out. Coincidentally, DCEU was ran by Warner Brothers, and now AEW is on the Warner Brothers network. So maybe it's not even AEW's fault. Maybe it's Warner Brothers. I don't know. But something needs to change. And again, I'm saying this because I want AEW to be like great again.
Yes.
It feels like it wasn't even that bad that long ago. Like, so get rid of Collision, man. I really think that solves a big problem right there, because if you don't have it, you don't have it.
Agreed.
Creatively. So
we just want the show to be fun again. That's it.
Man, I feel like I should only. I promise I'm not shitting on AEW. Hey, and you know what? Go ahead and do that, because again, I don't really care about Dark and Elevation. I'm not going to tune in to watch it. It's on YouTube, and I've seen some of the matches, so it is what it is. But I do think it was cool that people were getting time on there. Get them in the ring because they needed it. And that's what I like about Rampage is I don't see the same people on Rampage as I see on Dynamite. They build stories through Rampage and it's fun. And like Anna Jay and Sky Blue and Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs and Santana and Ortiz. So, but he had to jump off. But with that, there he goes.
Boop. My bad, John.
You good? You good? Remove. There we go. So with that, it's time to say our goodbyes. Good question, man. I'm glad you do. Yeah, Sky Blue. Sky Blue is the shit. But it is time to say our goodbyes. So with that said, Albert, I'll let you go first, sir. Anything you need to tell the people before we say our goodbyes?
Just like you say every week, go watch the Slam Sessions. Boom. Perfect. Right there. New episode up. There was a little bit of an error. I'm going to upload the correction to it tonight. So there we go.
And now, Heidi, what about you, sir? Anything you'd like to say before we say our goodbyes?
There's a lot of negative things in the world. A lot of negative things going on in the world, like at all times. There's negative stuff with work, with friends, with anything in life. But there's always at least a couple good things in life if we can take the time to get out of our own head and stop thinking about anxiety in the future. So for me, it's going to be tomorrow, Monday Night Raw, NXT, and doing good things at my job. I mean, I'm just hoping people can find some positivity out there. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I run the entertainment in the first place is because, like, man, I want to sink into WWE and get lost in the story, or anime and get lost in the story. So hoping people tomorrow, even though we said some good things and negative things, mostly good, not everybody was happy with what they saw, but the story that's being built behind all of it is the reason why I'm tuning in. I want to see what happens on Raw and SmackDown now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just to reiterate, I know I went in on AEW there for a second, but again, I wasn't really shitting on AEW, the product. I was shitting on just an idea that they went with that I just didn't agree with. I thought it was silly. And a lot of people seem to agree with me. So don't hate on me, hate on everybody that did it. David, but now it is your turn, sir. Is there anything you'd like to say or plug or do before we say our goodbyes? Oh, you're muted, buddy. There you go. Yeah,
hey,
there you go.
Real quick, my bad.
You good?
I was muted and stuff. A little bit of technical difficulties. Got a text from the wife said, "Hey boy, hurry up." So, hey man, it was my absolute pleasure to be able to be on this show with y'all. If y'all could come check me out on the episodes that I was on with the other podcast called Kick Rocks, come check it out. It's with Evan Mack, myself, sometimes Chef, Justin and PAW, the Bell guy, be on there. We be cooking it up with the pots only like we can, giving you the flavor only like I can. And this is how we do it. And I appreciate y'all bringing me on this show, man.
Absolutely. No doubt, man. I appreciate you coming on. I enjoyed our time on the Dynamite. I hated that the show didn't last long, but it just wasn't
right
with time.
I'm here, man, whenever y'all need me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to do guests every week now. So we're going to definitely bring David back on at a later date to be determined. And
been my pleasure, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. We will be back next week with another episode of the Positively Awesome Wrestling. For those who just didn't notice, Albert had to dip. He had some things to do. But he made it through the whole show, which we weren't expecting. So that's really cool that he got to stay. Wrestling Legion, November 18th. It is the booking rematch between myself and the shipless captain. We are doing Survivor Series, and you're going to want to hear mine because it is my masterpiece. We will be doing Starrcade 97, just the pay-per-view, and you will want to check in for that one because, man, I fixed that shit completely. And last but not least, we will be helping each other back and forth to see who is better at doing the last Monday Nitro, the very first wrestling show that I ever got to go to. So that one is very near and dear to my heart as well. I can't wait to rebook that. You will not want to miss this show. It will not be as long this time. Nick has worked out the kinks and all that, so don't have to worry about using your whole evening to watch us. But it will be entertaining as always because that's what I try to do, entertain everybody. And just for everybody that will be tuning in next week, our Positively Awesome Wrestling top 5 list will be myself. I have 5 trades that I will make between WWE and AEW that I think benefit both sides. And I want to hear what everyone has to say about it. So you don't want to miss that. But with that said, Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, David, for being here with us. Thank you, Tidy, for letting us know what time it is. It's time for the blow the horns. Doo, 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 and let everybody know you just enjoy wrestling right here. Where did it go? Boom, boom, boom. Just enjoy wrestling right there.
Enjoy it.
Have a great night, y'all. Thank you for joining us, Scotty. Thank you for joining us, Courtney. David bopped out, but that's okay because now we are going to say our goodbyes. See you later.